Ladies and gentlemen, this is JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I'm Joe.
I'm Won-Jin.
We're going to talk about Better Call Saul Season 6,
Yes.
Episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
So much to unpack here. Spoilers ahead.
Major spoilers coming up.
If you have not watched until Episode 9, please turn this video off and come back after watching the show.
And remember last episode we loved. And this episode, we presumed that there would be a lot more of, what were their names? Gus and Mike. But also, surprisingly, this show went into great detail. Well, not great detail, but it further spent time to give more depth to characters like Mike.
This is basically the aftermath episode. And it shows how the aftermath affected every major character. And not one character was missed. And that's what I liked about it. But first, let's talk about the Kim thing. I mean, this was one of the scenarios we discussed.
Yes.
And it was done in such a tender and sad way. And you know what surprised me is how much self-knowledge Kim actually has.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, her dialogue is basically what we were talking about. And she said, I was just having too much fun.
That's right. And what surprised me was that not only did she leave Jimmy, but she also quit her job. I mean, she got herself removed from the bar. So she's no longer serving as an attorney. She no longer practices law.
You know what? That's interesting. You know, that's what I find fascinating about that is her trajectory is opposite of Saul. Saul wanted to get on the bar and become a lawyer. Her too, but I assume she was a lawyer first. But hers is leaving that thing that Saul can't. You know, she knows that being with Saul and being a lawyer when she's responsible for another lawyer's death and having abused that legal power, she's leaving it. And it's something Saul doesn't do.
I think the difference between Kim and Jimmy after having watched the ninth episode is that she still has integrity and a lot of conscience.
Wait, I only agree half of that because I would argue Saul still has integrity as a crooked lawyer, though, because his one code is he does everything for his client, right?
Client, yeah, that's true.
What I would say, I would phrase it differently. This is just my opinion. Like, they're very similar characters actually, but it's 51-49. I think for Kim, just her good part is just stronger than the bad part. Because she has shown she has the obnoxious side, just like Saul. Except for Saul, like his true self without Chuck, without Howard, without Kim is Saul. Like, remember, like I feel like Jimmy always needed a good parents, an asshole but good intentioned brother. Let's arguably, I think everybody and a love called Kim and all that. Now that all his personal components are gone, he just fully becomes Saul.
Yeah, good point. Nothing's stopping him now.
Yeah.
There are no more barriers for of him to become what he truly is. So I think Kim was the last safety pin inside Jimmy, and now that's gone, and we will now see. We suspected this, but we finally saw the final transformation of Jimmy into Saul Goodman.
Yeah, when Kim leaves, and then this was one of our predictions. I mean, this could have gone either way, but I'm glad they chose this one because it adds so much emotional depth. And what's interesting is this could also be interpreted as Saul's, like we talked about this too, but the way he deals with pain. Because look at Saul. Like, I think Chuck said it, but everything Saul touches gets burned. Everybody who he loves gets hurt. So Saul, in a way, is being brave. Like, Jimmy is brave by becoming Saul, because if he doesn't have any personal connections, he doesn't need to hurt anybody.
Oh, that's true.
And which hurts himself, by the way, because here, like, we never seen Jimmy so vulnerable. Like, he's begged for his life before, but here he's not begging for his life; he's begging for his soul. So I think that's like really poetic here.
Like especially when he pleads to Kim not to leave him. I think he said, "I'll do anything. I'll do anything to change this."
That's such a vulnerable moment because when Saul is in danger before, he usually brings up a solution. So the criminal's like, okay, that's intriguing. But here, like,
there's no solution.
Like, his words don't mean anything. Like, in a way, this shows like Kim's strength too. As much wrong as she did, the difference between her and Saul is that she is truly sorry.
Okay, I think that's a better way of putting it. Yeah, she truly is sorry about everything.
Yeah, because think about it. After that Howard funeral scene was really, really, like, that was a tougher scene for me.
Yeah, especially when they approach, what's her name, Cheryl,
yeah.
the wife.
Oh my God!
And she starts questioning them and the things that had been going on between them and Howard. We feel intensely uncomfortable, just like them. And I especially love the scene where Kim blatantly lies in front of the wife to get Jimmy out of trouble. And I think that's probably when she eventually figured out that she needs to walk away from all this.
I mean, it's a great psychological drama.
And I also love the way that they depart from each other in their own cars in the garage. Because remember, in the beginning of the season of Better Call Saul, we see a lot of that basement shot of the parking lot. Yeah, the parking lot shot. That's where they always hang out.
And I also, and it's done in such a subtle way that I don't know, this is just my guess, but we know Kim is coming back. Like, you know, because like if she's dead, like Lalo, she's not coming back.
Well, I'm not sure if she's coming back, because what I suspect now is also one of our scenarios where Gus gets her killed. Because I was thinking...
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
I was thinking that, no, there's no way that she can just walk away from all this after being intertwined with all this Gus Fring business.
I thought about that too, but after this episode, I actually don't think that's going to happen. Because the way this episode feels like a lot of conclusions for the characters. Like, Kim already left. And remember, now we have to jump to the Gus scene. But I feel like the Gus scene is... implied that all of that is behind. The Lalo drama is behind. And the interesting thing about Gus scene is the Gus scene is also very similar to the Saul scene, except that it's a intersection. Because I feel like the wine scene kind of hints that Gus can stop too.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, when he was about to indulge into the pleasures, he suddenly has this like a moment of clarity, and he just walks away. Yeah,
but that clarity, you can argue that is his downfall, because like I don't know, like I guess the show never says it directly, but I felt romantic tension with the wine guy and him. But that's like a mirror to Kim and Saul, because as soon as Saul gives up the personal love, like Jimmy becomes Saul. Like here, Gus, who is filled with hate, by the way. Has a chance to just enjoy the personal thing, but he chooses not to because of, I assume, the revenge scheme that we see come into Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So this is another, like, Gus's story actually mirrors Saul. Like here, it's just very similar. What's sad about it is that we know how Saul's end, like, tragically, and we know
also
how
know
Gus tragically. And you could argue that, okay, now we're jumping ahead, but you could even argue that the Mike scene is like that too.
Yeah.
Because Mike, like, the Mike scene is also very interesting in that what I liked in Breaking Bad was that, like, Mike seemed like the only non-hypocritical guy. Like he like, you know what I mean? Like, Walt is obviously a hypocrite. We still love him for it. Jesse is maybe he's a hypocrite who feels guilty about it. But Mike is just a competent machine even. Like he knows the game. But here we get to see Mike on a moral low ground.
That's right.
Like the dad says, justice.
You gangsters.
You gangsters are all the same. That's not justice. That's history. Now fuck
revenge.
off. Like the way he, like, it's like almost Jesus Christ condemning you. Boo, boo. You fuck off. You think, and then because Mike, like we've been led to believe that Mike is better than the Salamancas, at least morally.
Yeah.
Because remember that line with the medicine thief. He says they're good criminals and bad whatever. So that's like Mike's justification for his action, right? He's maybe a good criminal, like Robin Hood. But Vargas then says, fuck that. You're all the same. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's not justice.
Yeah, that's like, that scene was like, it reminded me a lot of Succession. In that the wars can have emotional violence more devastating than a fucking bullet.
Good point.
Yeah, because the Mike's face when he hears that is like total like speechlessness. Like Nacho's dad spoke facts, and then there's nothing he can say.
Yeah, because he knows it's true.
And there's a mirror image of that, right? Because we have to remember Mike lost his son too. Now Nacho's dad lost his son too, but their attitude is so different. Because remember, Mike had to revenge his son's death.
That's right.
But here, Nacho's dad is like, you know what?
It's like what's happened? It's what
happened. What happened?
Yeah.
And then the way he walks back to the shop, it's kind of like a double fuck you to Mike because Mike is the one who couldn't let it go. And in a way, it reminded me a lot of Breaking Bad. Is how similar Mike actually is to Walter, Gus, and even Jesse. He may have he's right most of the time, right? But in the end, like the underlying motivation, like how different are you from these guys? But here, Nacho's dad shows clearly how different he is than them. This is the second most impressive scene after the Kim one for me. Like, I didn't know they would do that. I just assumed that like Nacho's dad won't come back, whatever. But they did that scene, and then it just added so much tragedy to Mike's character.
I also like the opening sequence, when they have that music playing and we see that sign of Saul Goodman going up. I love how smart all these scenes were set up. How while the sign was being hung up, it was hanging by threads. And then, what's his name? Saul Goodman and his assistant were also standing in the handicap spot. And we later find out that he parks in the handicap spot with that fake thing.
Yeah.
And then, interestingly, they show, I think, Saul, Mike, and who was it? But there are these characters, and each one of these scenes show these characters being lit with light. So it's as if finally their true nature is being put right under light.
That's such a great description.
Because we see, when Saul was putting that neck brace thing on one of his clients, there's this lamp shining them. Also, the end of that sequence, I think, was Mike burning all the belongings of Nacho and Howard, I think. And we see that flame shining, his lighting his face up.
That's an interesting interpretation.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of cinematic scenes here. But now that you mentioned fire, we have to mention Don Eladio.
Ah, yes.
Because you brought a good point. That was filmed intentionally at night, and the fire, because you mentioned a good point, because that's about truth being revealed, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's in the dark, and I loved how tense that scene was. And the fascinating thing, you know what Better Call Saul did? It even added depth to a character like Don Eladio. Because now, after this scene, hats off to Don Eladio.
Oh, Stephen Bauer, oh man.
Oh my God! Yes. Because this scene made me hate him and love him more. First of all, he's a piece of shit.
I wouldn't let him sleep.
I can't stand that.
Yeah.
And he looks at Bolsa, and then Bolsa has to fake laugh because that's his boss. He's like, because he's obviously the only one who finds it funny. But we now know why Eladio is the boss. He has surprising instinctive knowledge of human instincts. His chilling line. You know what I saw in your eyes? I saw a little bit of hate. And he says this line, a little bit is okay, as long as you know who's the boss. That's so interesting because it kind of implies that in his head,
I know you did it.
Possibly. But he intentionally... And then, you know what's so amazing is that scene is... he seemed the most rational guy in the room. Like Hector's like, he did it, fuck him, kill him. And then, but Don Eladio listens and then asks Bolsa, and the dental record matched, and then Bolsa
confirms facts.
Yeah. And then Bolsa says his brother, we know from Breaking Bad that his brother is the police chief. He confirmed that the dental matches. And then Eladio thinks his words through. And then he's a straight up businessman because, like, in his mind, I think, why would he kill somebody who's bringing me more dough than the guy who's becoming weaker
on a wheelchair?
Yeah, all his family members are dying. He has good soldiers, but in terms of dinero, here's the man. And he also threatens Gus in a way too. I'm giving you mercy, but don't think I don't know. Like your interpretation, right? If he knows if he's certain about it. And that was such a short scene. And then
and Don Eladio being flamboyant is so convincing that I always forget Stephen Bauer from Scarface. I sometimes forget that this guy is capable of speaking English because he's so convincing as like a South American drug dealer.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a Mexican accent though, but the way he does it is good. And I love when Gus goes in, we see all his cars, right?
Yeah.
And then that reminded me of the gift that Lalo gave him. But it also gave me, like, this is just my interpretation. I may be overdoing it, but I felt like how meaningless, how meaningful, like, what was the line that Gus said to Lalo? That pig, like that greedy pig Eladio, right? It shows his greed because he has so many cars, but it also shows how uncaring he is for his men because Lalo gave him a car. So what? He has dozens more.
Oh, I think I had a different interpretation of that scene because those cars. Remember the cousins, the twins?
Yeah.
They drive a Porsche Cayenne, the SUV. That car's there.
Oh,
so some of them are Don Eladio's cars, but some of them are Bolsa's, the twins, Hector, and these other capos' cars.
I think you're right.
So basically, it's foreshadowing that they're all there. Yeah. I think that was also the point. And like you said, I think that also makes sense.
Yeah.
Now we see that car that Lalo gave him as a present, the Ferrari.
Yeah. The red one.
Yeah, the red one. I think that's a 208 GTS or something. But I don't know.
Oh shit.
That car it's just a car now. Yeah. It really holds no deep meaning besides just being a car.
But Eladio is greedy. That's why. And then the way he talks down to Hector too. Sleep in my bed, it's honor. Like ding 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 ding. He's like he obviously understands. Oh, it's okay. Don't. It's like it's a power move. I don't. Yeah. Go there. And then I like how he speaks to the twins too, because like I think like the twins are the only ones he would allow to keep that kind of like arrogant face around. He looks at the twins. He's like, okay, you psycho dogs.
But the thing is, the twins, they usually just nod or sway their head.
Speak, right?
But when Don Eladio asks them a question, they speak.
Yeah.
That was also surprising. Yeah, it shows his power,
the authority. Because like he's the only one that's relaxed.
Yeah,
he's like slapped over
with a cigar.
Yeah, he's like whatever, hurry the fuck up. Yeah, no, but that was a brilliant scene, and like you mentioned, it's the foreshadowing. Because like I think there should be a meme that says Hector was right all along. If you think about it, like if they kill Gus there. And the whole problem is solved. And then the slight touch of the swimming pool. And I also love the scene, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a fanboy. I love how Bolsa only pours the whiskey for himself. Like, because I thought he would pour like Gus.
Yeah, me too. I thought, since they're like the last two remaining ones by the pool, I thought he was like trying to have a drink with them.
Yeah, I thought Bolsa might have a line to tell Gus, but no, he's drinking by himself. Fuck. And then Gus is looking at the pool where his lover or presumably lover or friend died. Remember
the foreshadow from Breaking Bad.
I think like
not foreshadow, the flashback.
Like, what do you think? Do you think Gus will appear in future episodes though? Like, because it kind of felt like a finale to me. Like, because now that remember, like, there's a time jump at the end, right? I assume that we're it's like either a few months or a few years away. So I kind of question like what's gonna happen the next episode though.
we still have like 4 episodes,
Yeah.
3 episodes left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he will show up again.
You think so?
And I think it's got to do with Kim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that, but we both agreed that could happen. But for me, I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, wait, that's right. We also have things to do with the future.
Yeah.
Remember, like, the post Breaking Bad story.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
That's
we got to dive into that. And also, wasn't there like a rumor that Walter White and Jesse would eventually
That's
show
what
up?
I was going. I feel like they will. I think Jesse will definitely make an appearance. You know why? Because in Breaking Bad, Jesse already knew Saul.
That's true.
Before Walter, you want a criminal lawyer, you get a criminal lawyer. That's his good line. So I feel like maybe Saul already helped Jesse. Okay, maybe not. Because, like, I remember now in Breaking Bad when they tied up, did Lalo sent you when the face mask goes off? Saul did not recognize Jesse. So maybe that's not a no. But Jesse appearing. Oh! I think Crazy 8 will appear. My prediction is like if they want surprise, I want the rise of Crazy 8 and possibly Tuco coming back to set up the world before Heisenberg.
Now they gotta set things up for Breaking Bad. But I don't know. After watching the scene with Don Eladio and Gus, I didn't really feel that this was gonna be a finale for Gus. I think I think they still have a story to tell.
Maybe Mike though, like because for me the Gus ending was like, for me it was such a beautiful conclusion to the Gus right before Breaking Bad. Because I feel like there's nothing more to talk about unless like it has to do with like Walter White but I don't know because we already saw him with Gale already, right? I think
true.
So I don't know if I could be wrong, but I don't know what they will do more. But Saul, I definitely think there will be more. Okay, that was just so obvious. I'm sorry for saying that. But my question is, this is my prediction, Kim will be back. Kim will be back, I think, in the future timeline.
And now we know that she doesn't hold a bar license anymore.
We don't know what she does, right?
Yeah, we have no idea what she might be doing in the future. Or maybe she will, well, I don't think she's going to, she will ever practice law again. She will probably do something that's a little more maybe ordinary.
Yeah. No, one of my theory is that she's going to go live in that place where, remember that old man with the house is? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like some kind of ranch job or like something very, 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 very casual. And where she get to help people and not hurt other people and prevent that hurt. Like and then like my prediction is she's gonna visit Saul in jail or something. Yeah.
And now we know after seeing this episode. Remember the scene where the opening sequence was clearing out Saul Goodman's house. Yeah. And we saw that pink thong on in the bathroom or the bed or something. Yeah. We now know that does not belong to Kim.
Yeah, it's not a Scarface Kim scenario. It's actually more beautiful, subtle way. But we do get to see Saul enjoy time with a professional, and then like being Saul, and then starting his like the routine we know. Oh, but I do think Hank will be back.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I think Hank will appear.
Yeah, he's got to be in the neighborhood
because I think we have to see how Saul. Because in Breaking Bad, it seems that all the cops know Saul. Like, because remember, in Better Call Saul, in the future Saul, we see somebody recognize him and say, "Hey, say that, man, lawyer up," right? So I think maybe there is an episode where we get to see Saul become famous. He's not famous yet. I mean, he's very popular, but he's not universally hated by all law enforcement and loved by all criminals yet, I feel. So maybe there will be a scene where Saul is built up. But 4 episodes, man, that is either really short or really long.
Yeah. So remember, up until this point, we had no idea what's going to happen. And the funny thing is, we still have no idea what's going to happen. But at the same time, I start to question, how are they going to fill it up? How are they going to fill the remaining story?
I mean, the best way is to just jump after the Breaking Bad time.
Because we now saw the transformation to Saul Goodman. Kim left. Nacho died. Lalo died. So what's up now?
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. The reunion with Kim and Saul will be beautiful. Because, you know, I have a question for you. like, I feel like Saul's evil is between Walter White and Hank's wife. The level of evilness.
Yeah.
Because Walter is just straight up, like, no redemption possible. But I think, remember, like, how Hank's wife loved to steal stuff?
Yeah.
She's like, she has that little bad girl side.
That kleptomaniac side.
Yeah. So this is spectrum. I feel like Saul is about here. So that brings up the question for us, I think, as audience. Can Saul be redeemed back to Jimmy? And does he deserve a happy ending? Because remember, Jesse got a relatively happy ending.
Yeah.
So my thing is, Jesse killed somebody. Remember that. I don't think Saul ever murdered somebody intentionally. So I assume that Saul can be forgiven, and that will be the bittersweet ending because, maybe he paid for his crimes, but I don't think he's gonna do life in jail. Not for abetting, right? Maybe there's a money laundering. There's a money laundering charge, so that could carry some hefty sentence.
Before watching episode 7, I would say that yes, he is redeemable, but after watching Howard die, I'm not exactly sure because that was pretty ugly. That
was ugly, but is it unforgivable though? Like, 'cause it's Lalo who pulled the trigger, and there's no way they could have.
But we must also remember, because of that, he just destroyed his brothers and also the Hamlin's legacy.
Oh, right, that was it.
Yeah, remember that the HHM, was it? Howard Hamlin? That law firm is being disbanded, basically. It's shutting down its operations.
And Hamlin was a completely innocent victim, right? Unlike Chuck, maybe. Like, I would say Chuck is innocent legally, but
we could tell that Chuck was remorseful of his brother. But Hamlin, he truly had good intentions for Jimmy. Remember remember that scene where he took him to a boxing ring to get it out of his system?
That was such a gentleman move.
Yeah, that was such a gentleman move.
I love now that you bring it up, I love the coach's face. This pathetic match that I have to host because of these two rich lawyers, but which was still entertaining. Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? We forgot to mention, I think we said this the last episode, but R.I.P. Lalo, man. R.I.P. Lalo.
Lalo.
Possibly one of the best villains.
And one of the most enjoyable characters of the show.
Oh my god! He's already dead the last episode, but I still miss him. I wish we had more scene with Eladio and Lalo, because those seems like two cunning guys pretending to be so nice. Oh, like all these
Don Eladio.
You know what I love about both? They obviously know what's going on, but they always do the overreaction. Oh, this car, thank you, you motherfucking underling that has to pay me tribute. And then Lalo, like, boss, you fucking asshole who always manipulate us. Like, I love their hypocrisy, like, which is opposite of Gus, because they overdo it. But man, I'm gonna miss Lalo, and I love how Lalo still like leaves a terrifying mark on, like, because remember the last episode, like Jimmy keeps saying, "Are you sure he's dead?" Because he thought he was dead, but
that's right. He came back from the dead. He killed Howard in front of him.
And in a way, Lalo surviving broke up Kim and Saul's relationship. Like his survival ruined everything. Basically, Lalo is like a devastating version of Saul.
That's right. He even went to Germany, remember, and chopped off that poor guy's ankle.
Yeah. No, he probably killed him.
Yeah, and probably killed him. Yeah.
Yeah, but like his destruction level is like up amongst the Salamancas. Like, because it was interesting that Gus said jackals, because I think we mentioned Salamanca families as wolves or jackals, and Lalo played that character to such a wonderful performance. But anyway, that brings me a question though. Like, maybe the last 4 episodes, we do need a villain though.
Yeah, that's what I'm puzzled about. So how are they gonna fill this void? We have all the villains dead, basically. Well, except for Gus, but at this point, he's not exactly a villain to Saul.
But you know what? It's another possibility though that I hope they don't do. But if they do, they're gonna do a good job. Maybe we will get a scene that's right in the middle of Breaking Bad timeline, but we never got to see. For example, like a scene with Heisenberg. A scene that we never seen before, and they can retrospectively add that. Because we've seen a lot of characters from Breaking Bad make appearance here.
Now I'm thinking that they're going to do something really, really smart with the Breaking Bad timeline.
something that adds more depth to the original series, right?
And something that probably involves, of course, Saul or maybe even Kim.
I mean, Heisenberg coming back at his prime will be interesting because you know what will be interesting? Maybe it's right in the middle of Breaking Bad timeline, but we get to see Saul in his house while Heisenberg is his customer, and we get to see Saul stressed out. Like rethinking his life decision, because he never had a customer like Heisenberg before.
That's right.
And the thing about Heisenberg is, Heisenberg made Saul repent, like his existence, his pure evilness. Maybe I'm running for the woods.
That's right. At first, he had no idea what was coming, but then as time progresses,
look, because remember in season 2, Saul seemed the bigger crook than Walter, and then by season 5. You quit when I say you quit. In his like Heisenberg voice, I knock, motherfucker. And Saul's like, yes, sir. I don't want to die. Like this mass murder. So maybe that will happen.
Yeah. And maybe, like they will dive in the middle of that story and maybe show us a scene where Saul is gearing up in case he gets intimidated in his own house. Remember when his house was getting cleared out, there was like a secret room amongst those mirrors.
Oh, interesting. I don't remember that.
Where there was like a bulletproof vest. So I don't know.
Okay,
but
maybe
I'm thinking.
Oh, this is a theory. You bring it up, good one. Maybe the next episode start with him panicking and packing things up to meet the vacuum guy. There's this first intense 10 minutes, and we get to see him arriving there and setting up becoming the donut employee. I could watch an hour of that if they do that. Like him settling down.
That would be nice. Just like how we saw Jesse settling down after Breaking Bad in the what's it called? El Camino.
Yeah. I mean, okay, that's already 2 episodes potentially. I mean, and then the cops.
And then we could jump further future into time, in time, and eventually maybe see Jimmy and Kim meeting each other again. Jimmy being in jail.
No, but but I think the ending will involve Kim. You know what? Just caught up to my mind. You can argue that Better Call Saul is a love story. I don't think you can say that about Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is about a family and marriage story, but here it's a love story, because Kim is in the very first episode, and their romance builds up, and then they break up. But I think for Walter, like Skyler, I mean, I'm sure they had their loving moments, but I think for Heisenberg, Skyler was just a tool that he justified using, like as a family member.
Or you know what else would be a great ending? They eventually Kim and Jimmy meet again in the future. Oh no, but that wouldn't make sense. No, I was thinking of a scenario where Kim eventually gets murdered by one of Gus's guys.
Oh my God, you keep on it. Like that was one of our theories, but my thing is like, don't you think like she's gone now? So like, how is Gus gonna and in the future, Gus is dead. His whole organization gets
that's
killed
why it doesn't
Mike.
really make sense. I was thinking about it. I was thinking not Mike, but that Tyrus guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he would kill Kim. But since Gus is gone, that seems impossible.
Nah, I disagree on that actually. I think like Kim, I think that scenario should have happened this episode then. Because right after like his dialogue with Kim over the phone in the prior episode when Lalo was chasing them would make sense to cut loose ends, but here we see Gus drinking wine and relaxing after like a small victory, right? And that's his own celebration, right? So like I don't know, I assume he would have done that after he killed Kim if he felt Kim was a threat, but I guess the show is just moving on with that because that was a theory for us, right? But I feel like it should have happened this episode if that was the case. But anyway, oh my God, should we rate this episode?
Well, it's got to start at awesome.
Yeah, very awesome. Very, very emotional. Very emotionally deep episode.
And like you said, there were some very impressive scenes, like the one with the Don Eladio and what's his name, Mike, and Nacho's father.
And Gus, too. Gus is... I think that's the only scene we ever see him tender.
Yeah.
And now that you bring that up, I think he was genuinely nice this time. Like, not fake nice to the cops where I donate, now fucking leave me alone. Here he was like genuinely interested in the wine guy who he I feel like was romantic.
I think that's like the moment he fully let all guards down.
Yeah, that was tender, beautiful moment. Anyway, have you watched episode 9? Did you like it? If you liked our podcast, please press like and subscribe. And we'll be sure to talk about episode 10 when it drops. Can't wait for it to happen. Thank you so much. I was Joe.
We'll see you next week. I was Won-Jin.
Bye-bye. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun.